morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Thursday, the 12th of June, 2025. You can govern a country well, but still fail to lead it to freedom. That's the quiet truth sitting beneath every march, every rally, every conversation about independence in Scotland right now. Because the SNP isn't failing as a government. It's not stepping up to be part of the movement. Good governance is expected. It matters. It really matters. And the SNP has delivered much of it. But no country has ever voted itself into liberation through spreadsheets and ministerial statements alone. If Holyrood wants to lead Scotland to independence, it has to show up on the streets as well as the chamber. That means every rally, every protest, every act of national mobilisation, not as spectators or token voices, but as frontline activists beside the people who still believe in the cause. Politics will never deliver liberty on its own. It was never meant to. Leadership must come from both government and the grassroots, and right now, only one of those is still fighting. The movement is alive. The people are actually very well organised. They've never stopped believing. The question now is whether the party that says it represents them is still willing to join the fight, or just manage the status quo while the future walks on without them. No one is pretending that running a government is easy, especially not in the face of Westminster cuts, economic chaos and global instability. And to their credit, the SNP has delivered real results, from shielding Scots against bedroom tax to funding childcare to protecting the NHS in ways that Westminster refuses to do. But independent supporters aren't asking for miracles. They're asking for momentum. And right now, it's not there. You can't build a nation on silence. You can't ask people to march when you don't show up yourself. The SNP's job is to govern, but its duty, its founding purpose, is to liberate. And when that part of the job is left undone, trust begins to crack. It begins to erode. Not because people don't believe in the cause, but because they don't see the political leaders believing in it anymore. You don't need a focus group to know what's missing. The removal of the independence minister, the shelving of white papers, the vanishing of a visible, sustained campaign. The excuses are bureaucratic, but the consequences are political, and they're demoralising.
The First Minister talked about building the case for yes. Well, to build the case for yes, you need to actually do that. You need to do that through a campaign. They've axed their independence minister. They got rid of the independence papers. There's no yes campaign on the horizon. So how are we actually practically building support for independence? Let's do it. And look, I want to support and help the SNP leadership to do that and to reconnect with its grassroots. But we need to start putting our raison d'etre back at the forefront of what our party is about.
That quote there, that was Tony once again, coming from the inside of the SNP, stating what many of us believe. So let's be honest. If those on the inside are saying it because the frustration has become undeniable, a government can't call itself the leadership of a national movement if it's too scared to stand up with the people who carry that movement every day. Every serious independence movement in history has operated on a couple of fronts, inside institutions and outside in the public square. Scotland is no different. We need our parliament. That is part of our institutions. But we also need our rallies, our marches, our grassroots networks, and our people-driven campaign. One cannot succeed without the other. The idea that MSPs don't need to attend public yes events is not just out of touch. It's an insult to those who have never stopped turning up. If you're a leader in this movement, then show it. Show up at every major rally. March beside the people who still believe. Speak at every national gathering, not as VIPs, but as soldiers for Scotland's future. While the SNP focuses on governance, it is the people who have kept the fire alive. Groups like Believe in Scotland, Salvo, Liberation Scotland, local Yes Hubs, independent stalls, event organisers, these are the engines of the movement. They're the ones educating, mobilising, marching and doing all the hard work. But without the government's public commitment, the signal is mixed. Without the government's presence, the media narrative defaults to it's over. Without elected leaders in the streets, the very people who built this movement start to feel abandoned and shift their direction and their purpose onto something else. Sometimes that something else is just not turning up at the ballot box. The SNP can't afford to lose the movement because without the people, it's just another political party. And independence is not just a policy, it's a promise. Next year's Holyrood election is not just a test of electoral strength, it's a referendum on belief. Do people still believe that the SNP or any pro-independence party is serious about the case? Do our elected representatives see themselves as civil servants of devolution or leaders of a liberation movement? This isn't just about the government, it's about every single MSP who claims to be pro-independence. You don't get to wear that badge if you're not willing to carry the weight. A liberation parliament must walk with its people, not just legislate in isolation. Independence isn't going to fall into our laps. It must be fought for openly, proudly, and constantly. That means rallies, that means public presence, that means a government that leads both in chamber and out in the streets. If you sit in Holyrood and you believe in independence, then prove it. Show up, speak out, campaign like it matters, because it does. If you can't do both, govern and lead, then step aside for those who will. The grassroots are already leading. The movement is already moving. Those in Holyrood have a choice. March with us or lose the faith of the people that you rely upon the most.
They'll tell you it's just another ballot, a tick in a box, a quiet routine. But behind that curtain stands a moment that could split the stone or hold the screen. This isn't just a government we're choosing, it's who we let speak for our name. Will it be those who serve the people, or those still playing Westminster's game? We've waited for too long on speeches while the union wrote the rules. But this time, the silence breaks and the ballot becomes the tool. Vote for Scotland, not for party, not for pride. Use your power to decide. Vote for Scotland. Both votes aim to break the chain. Nothing left to lose, everything to gain. They'll warn you not to think too deeply, say a second vote will only divide. But they fear a voice that can't be managed. They fear a seat they cannot guide. They've built the rules to box us tightly. Quislings whisper from their scripts, but the moment we stop playing is the moment the balance tips. We've proven policy can blossom under ceilings made of glass. Now it's time to fill the chamber revolution waits with your pen. Vote for Scotland.